Which is better, a civilian or a military pension? Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and today I'm here to talk to you about the interaction between military service and the federal employees' retirement system. And just to ruin the surprise, it is possible to earn a military pension and a federal employee's pension with some caveats. Plus, military veterans who are not retired can use their military service to boost the size of their civilian pension. But before we get started, I want to point out that for a military retiree, there can easily be 4 sources of retirement income: a military pension, a VA disability payment, Social Security, and a federal pension. And as we've seen in previous videos, these sources of income can have interactions. For example, military pension and VA disability payments have a so-called VA waiver that can be repaid by the Department of Defense under CRDP or CRSC. And there used to be an interaction between the Survivor Benefit Program and Social Security, but that has since been phased out. So today, let's talk about the interaction between your military service and the federal pension. First of all, when I'm talking about federal pension, I really mean the Federal Employees Retirement System, or FERS. That was created by Congress back in 1986, and it's the system that all new federal employees are covered under. Now, right away, your bureaucratic antenna should be sensing some complications, or at least tons and tons of rules to deal with all sorts of situations that, well, they might not apply to you, especially if your federal civilian work experience started after 1986. Today, I'm going to be glossing over a lot of those rules. But one of the reasons that the timing of your service will matter is because FERS is funded in part by money that they withhold from your pay. And when people talk about buying back your service, what they're really talking about is making up those back payments. And of course, FERS comes with a cost of living adjusted monthly payment for life that's similar to a military retirement. But it has a lower multiplier, and the cost of living adjustments are calculated slightly differently. Anyways, let's get to the big question, which is, can you receive a military pension and a federal civilian pension? Yes, with this caveat. If you receive a regular military pension, none of your military service time can be used to calculate your federal civilian pension. But that only applies to regular military pensions. A member of a reserve component or the National Guard who gets one of those non-regular retirements, their service can count towards both pensions because they're working their federal civilian jobs Monday through Friday and doing the reserve component work on weekends and on covered absences. What's weird is the phrasing of this second bullet. A disability either incurred in combat or caused by an instrumentality of war and incurred in the line of duty during a period of war. The reason this is weird is because there is a distinction between a service-connected disability and a combat-related disability. And the language that's used in U.S. Code that I'm summarizing here, it looks similar to the combat-related definition that's used for combat-related special compensation, but it is not exactly the same. This language seems to be more restrictive, and so if you have a combat-related disability, and you would know that because you're receiving combat-related special compensation, then you can try to count your military service towards your civilian pension, but don't be surprised if you run into some complications. Anyway, back to this issue of trying to combine a regular military pension with the federal employee retiree system. You can elect to waive your retired pay and have your military service used to calculate your FERS annuity. I'll just tell you up front that for most people, that's not going to make any sense because the multiplier that's used for the federal employee system is lower than the multiplier that's used for military pensions. Maybe there's a unique case where some military person retired at a very low rank, but then achieved a very high civilian rank, I don't know, like maybe a staff sergeant became a GS-14, maybe that person's base pay would be so much larger under the FERS system that it would make sense to waive their retired pension. Regardless, if you want to use your prior military service as part of your FERS pension, you're going to need to pay into the FERS system. And I'm not including any of the details of that because it gets very complicated, very fast, and seems like every single case is unique. What I will say that is very, very important is that you have to buy back your military service before you retire from your federal civilian job. And processing times being what they are, it's a good idea to not wait to the last minute to do that. And now, if you're interested in some tips on how to apply for a federal job, watch this video.